Okay, here we go. This paper situated. It's more legible. So, okay, that's better. Here we go. Okay, so today what we're doing, guys, is we're starting 2-7. Okay, and this is where we're going to be solving two-step equations. Okay, which means we're going to be combining the addition and subtraction and multiplication and division together. All right. So the first thing that we want to do is we'll go through the steps. This is the format that it's going to look like. Okay, so your first thing you're going to do is locate the variable. You want to undo any addition or subtraction first, which means I'm going to remove the Q part of the equation, okay, which is this section here. Then third, you're going to undo any multiplication or division, which is going to be removing the P. You have to undo addition or subtraction before multiplication or division, and then you check your solution, okay? I equate this to like unwrapping a present, okay? You can't get to what you want, and my present is actually X. I can't get to X until after I take off the wrapping paper and then open the box. That's the way I kind of think about in a way to remember the process. All right, let's work a couple of examples. All right, number one, I draw my equation wall. Okay, and looking at it, what's farthest away, you'll hear me say that sometimes, what's farthest away from the variable on the same side? My variable is A. Well, on the same side, the farthest away number is the 2. So how is it connected? It's subtracted. So I'm going to add 2 to both sides. Remember, I want this to equal 0. Bring down what's left. So I now have 9A equals negative 65 plus 2. That means I'm different signs. So I'm doing battle, which means they subtract and the negatives win. So I'm going to have a negative 63. And now this looks like a problem we've been doing. The 9 and the A are connected by multiplication. So that means I need to divide by 9 on both sides. These 9s cancel and simplify to a 1. So I have A equals negative 73. And now I checked by plugging it back in. So I'm going to have 9 times negative 73 minus 2 equals negative 65. So I'm going to simplify this side over here. 9 times negative 73, that's going to give me a negative 63 minus 2. I'm wanting to know, does this make a true statement? Yes, this is teamwork. So I'm going to add them and I get negative 65 equals negative 65. This is true. So therefore, this is my correct answer. Next example. My pen's out of the way here. Looking at number 3. Okay, again, I'm going to draw my equation wall because what I'm doing is trying to move everything to this other side. So what's farthest away from my K? Put a line there so you know that's division. Is the 11. Remember, I'm trying to move that to the other side. So I ask, how is it connected? By subtraction. To make it equal 0, I'm going to add 11 to both sides. This now equals 0. I bring down the rest and I have K over 3 equals, now here I'm doing battle, subtract, the positives are winning here, so that's going to give me 6 as my answer. And now I'm looking at my next equation. How are the K and the 3 connected? They're connected by division, so to undo that division, we have to multiply by 3 on both sides. This cancels, and now I'm left with K equals 18 as my final answer. And again, you would plug this in to check. So I plug in, and I'm going to have 18 over 3 minus 11 equals -5. And now we simplify. 18 divided by 3 is 6. Minus 11 equals -5. This is battle. So they're subtracting. The negatives are winning. So we have -5 equals -5. This is true. So therefore, this is the correct answer. Excuse me. Excuse me, I knew a sneeze was coming. Okay, looking at number 7, we're going to jump down. The reason I chose this one is because there is no number written in front of this X right here. When there's no number, you should remember that that's understood to be a 1. Okay, so now we're solving. Draw my equation wall. And I'm looking to see what's farthest away from my X right now. Well, that's going to be the 19 that's over here, because the 1 is still right next door to it. My wrapping paper is the 19. Well, how do I get 19 to equal 0? I'm going to subtract 19 from both sides. This zeroes out. I bring this down. Now, a very common mistake that people do is they forget to bring down that negative right there. Do not forget that this is a -1x equals 30. If it is helpful, when you have the equation 19 minus x equals 30, go through and change this to plus a -1x. So you know that this is a -1x. Because if you forget that sign, you're going to end up with the wrong answer. All right, now we are dealing with, okay, I have -1 times x. How do I undo that multiplication? I divide by -1 to both sides, and I have x equals -30. And moving right along, I'm going to say, let you do the check. We've kind of gone over it. And we're going to move on so the video is not too long. And we're going to work a couple of examples. Now on the back here, this is where we're doing the same thing. We're just pulling in fractions and decimal rules here. All right, so if I'm looking at number 13, let this focus for just a second. Okay, there we go. Again, draw my equation wall. I am trying to get the c by itself, which means I have to move everything else to the other side of the equation. What's farthest away on this side is the 9. The 9 is my wrapping paper. So I've got to do whatever it takes to make 9 equal 0. So I'm going to subtract 9 from both sides. This equals 0, and I bring down the rest. Now remember, this is a -5/8 c equals, now this is doing teamwork. So we add, and that's negative. So therefore, this is going to be a -10. Now, at this point, when I'm looking at this, I'm multiplying a fraction. So therefore, that means I would have to divide by -5/8. But because that's a fraction, I actually multiply by the reciprocal. So I'm going to actually, instead of doing this, we're going to actually multiply by the reciprocal, KCF. So I'm going to multiply by -8/5 to both sides. When I do that, these cancel. To make the -10 into a fraction, I put it over 1. 5 goes into 5 one time. 5 goes into 10 twice. So this is going to become a -2. So therefore, my final answer is going to be 16 equals C. To check, we would plug in. So I would have -1 equals -5/8 times 16 plus 9. And now I have to simplify this side. Oh, when I do this, 16 over 1, 8 goes into 8 one time. 8 goes into 16 twice. So this is going to become -1 equals -10 plus 9. -10 plus 9 is -1 equals -1. This is true. So therefore, this is the correct answer. Now, that's your normal two-step equations. Of course, they have variations of everything. So here's another way that a two-step equation can look. It's when there is a big fraction. It's not a small fraction, but there's a big fraction in there. So again, the first thing is to locate the variable. Here in this type of problem, okay, this is that special scenario. Here you're going to undo multiplication or division first, because this fraction bar is like putting everything in the top in parentheses. It's like making a box. That's what this fraction bar right here does. It's like making a box to where we can't get inside of the top until we get rid of the bottom. So you have to undo the multiplication or division by removing P first, then you undo subtraction or addition by removing the Q, and then you check. All right, so here we go. Let's work a couple of these examples. So I'm going to multiply by 6 on both sides because I'm dividing. I should have asked that first. How are these two connected? How is it connected to the X? I jumped ahead too quickly. When I'm looking at this, all of this is divided by 6. So to undo the division, I'm going to multiply by 6 on both sides. When I do that, these 6's cancel. And I am left with X minus 1 equals 12. And now this looks very similar to problems that we've been doing. So now I'm going to continue. I'm going to see, what do I have to do to get the X by itself? Well, this is subtracting 1, so I'm going to add 1 to both sides. This equals 0, and I have X equals 13. To check, we plug it in. So I'm going to have 13 minus 1 all over 6 equals 2. And now I simplify. 13 minus 1, that's 12 over 6, 2. 2 equals 2. This is true. So therefore, this is the correct answer. All right, one more. Looking at number 17. Okay, it's just the opposite side of the equal sign. I still have my equation wall. I'm looking to see. There's my variable. What's connected to it? What's farthest away? What's farthest away is the 16. Because remember, this division bar has put up these parentheses, this box. I can't get inside of there until I move the 16. The 16 is attached by division. So that means I am multiplying by 16 on both sides. And when I do that, the 16s cancel over here. I don't know what 16 times 3 is, so I'm doing 16 times 3, which is 8, carried my 1. So that's 48. That's a negative times a positive, because I have to remember my integer rule. So that's going to give me a negative 48 equals K minus 5. Ms. Campbell. Oh, I didn't realize I was recording again already. Okay, here we go. Sorry for all the silence, guys. To finish this equation, we're going to add just a second. Yes, ma'am. Okay, let me finish this. Here we go. Chaotics this morning. Here we go. So I'm going to add 5 to both sides to make this equal 0. Bring down my K. Negative 48 plus 5. So I'm doing battles. That means I subtract. The negatives win. Put my negative down, and I'm going to actually be subtracting. So 8 minus 5 is 3. 4. So my answer is a negative 43. Okay, your assignment, start by finishing all the notes problems, and then you will have the second page of this packet that you could start today, or you can start tomorrow, because you will have today and tomorrow to finish this entire packet, every page. Have a great day.